Okay, this is sort of a continuation of the basic Prezi introduction, but I'm going to show a few more advanced effects and features that are really cool and really spice up your presentations. We have our Prezis. I'm logged in, ready to go. I'm going to hit New Prezi. Make this one a fancy one. So I'm doing a new Prezi here. Now let's say this time I don't want to go with any of the themes they've created already. Maybe I just want to make my own. So I'm just going to start editing. We don't only have this blank white canvas to work with though. What we can do is choose a theme, and we can choose any of these color schemes, font schemes, and backgrounds. So this industrial is kind of cool. It changes our background, and it also gives us different font options. So we can make our own, but you know, it still looks kind of plain, not all that interesting. This plus is always good because it creates path points for us. So I can shrink this down and I can put it inside of there so that it's linked with it. So you already have the path point, and these plus signs are good for that. We can also just do an add like that, and it puts a random bracket. We can add another one. It puts another random bracket. We can change it with these, make it an image, put a YouTube video in, and that's what I'm going to show you now is a couple of images, tricks, and YouTube. So I'm going to start with YouTube here. Double click to start editing. We can drag it around for now, but I'm going to double click it to start editing, and I have to paste a YouTube link in. Well, here, conveniently enough, is the Prezi Basics from the first part. We can't just copy and paste this whole URL, because if we do, it's going to say wrong URL, because we have the safety mode thing here. So what we have to do is copy everything before the ampersand. So everything before the and sign, we want to select. So it's going to be different, but whenever you have your YouTube link, you see watch question V equals, and then all this. As soon as you see the and ampersand, you want to select everything before that. Control C or copy. And I'm going to paste that in there and insert, and there's the video. Now the nice thing is whenever we're doing the presentation, the video will play automatically by itself. We can play it here, we can mute it here as well, we can preview it.
Hi everybody, I'm going to take you through the basics of Prezi. The information session is
And that person, whoever made that video, sounds really, really interesting. So we can rotate this thing, we can make it bigger or smaller, whatever we need to do. I'll leave that there, and making another one. Now, whenever we do our pathway, it's already got the little connected dots, so it's going from number 1 to number 2 to number 3. Let's say that in number 2, however, I want for that text to animate in. We're going to do this. Click 1, click 2, so those will fade in. Excellent, that's good. Maybe I want it to show the video first, in which case I can either rearrange it here like this, or I can click the number and drag it around. I can drag it off and it disappears. Move number 2 there, and then just zoom out a little bit and click number 3. There we are, all set to go. So we have a YouTube video added, but maybe we want a background. Maybe this background is just kind of boring. And you'll also notice every time there's a bracket that appears, it gives you a new bracket inside, and that's what we're going to utilize next. We have this ability to zoom in, so it goes from number 1, showing this, to number 2, zooming in further. Forget that. Well, I'm going to add another one. Double click, zoom in so I can see it. So we have from 1, it shows us that, then it zooms in a little bit to there, and then it zooms in even more. And we can go on quite a bit until it finally tells us we can't zoom in anymore. But that's kind of uninteresting. With the 3D capabilities that we can do, here's what we'll do next. Theme wizard. Since we used a stock theme, we can go through with next and we can change what fonts are used for each one. So this is Title 1, this is Title 2, and then we have the body. So Title 1, we can change it to another font. Title 2, we can change it to another font, and we can change the body to another font if we want to. We can also change the default color of those with these, so that Title 1 is always going to be orange or white or whatever. But we have this arrow in here. When we do next, we can see we can change this color of the circle frame, so we can make it white or green or whatever color we want it. We can change the rectangle so that it's a different color, and it also changes the bracket. We can also change the color of the arrow and the line, and I'll show how to use those in a second. And then there's also a highlighter feature, which we can use. So that's cool to customize, but we still don't have a background. So we have a couple of options here. We can either upload one image, so we can take one of these pictures here and make that the background. But since we already have it zooming from one to the next all the way in, I'm going to go to Advanced. And in Advanced, if you know color codes from HTML and stuff, you can change it yourself. You can also change the fonts this way. You can make a custom logo. You can make your own logo, or you can use the Stevens Falcon or whatever. 3D backgrounds is what we're interested in. We're going to click Edit, and we're going to have an option to do 3 backgrounds. So I'm going to upload, and I'm going to make this look like outer space, where we're zooming through space. So the first image is getting uploaded. So that's going to be the first thing that we see on the home view. Then when we zoom in a little bit, the next one that we're going to upload is, I'll do this galaxy here. So when we zoom in a little bit, it'll fade from this one to that one. And then I'm going to upload the third one, which will be the planet Earth. So it'll look like we're zooming through space, arriving on planet Earth. So I'm going to hit Done, and then Done again. Now, when I hit the Home View button, I see everything that I've got, and I have this really big image here of the outer space. So when I zoom in on number 1, it's still outer space, but then when I zoom in on number 2, it fades and the background changes to being the galaxy. Then it zooms in even further on the planet, and there's Earth. So we have some really cool dynamic zooming to where it looks like we're zooming through space. So we go from there to there to there, and it changes, and then when we go to the next item, it zooms back out, and there we are again. So that's a really cool feature, and as you can see, when you move, it's like it's separate from the picture, so it adds a lot of flavor to this. Well, something else we can add is shapes. So we can either do Insert and then Shapes, or we can hit this little pinky toad looking thing there and go directly to it. This is where we find the highlighter. We also find the arrow. We can make shapes and things. And these are all individually selectable and resizable. And this is different from a frame because it's just a rectangle or square or whatever shape you make. It's independent. And you can also, what's really neat, depending on what colors you have set on the theme, when I double click, I can change the color to these. But also we have these little line points. I can make it bigger or smaller, but I can also make it curve with the middle one. So that's pretty cool, and I can move it around. Hit enter. But now, when I select this, I can also make it big old fat arrow or teeny tiny skinny arrow, and that's by using the inner blue. We can also rotate it just like the others. Same with this. You can make it bigger, make it smaller. When you edit, you can change the color, you can change the size and dimensions. So that's pretty cool. Shapes. Then the highlighter we've got, let me move out a little bit. I'm going to highlight that. So I'm going to go into Shapes, select the highlighter, and just like that, it's highlighted. I can move that around. I can make it longer, and that's about it. You can't make it wider. But if you need something to fully cover, then you just select the highlighter again, highlight it, just like that. You can also draw emphasis circles, and this one, it's cool, you know, like it would be like a red pen if you have red on the line color, which I guess I can change that. Theme wizard. Arrow and line, I'm going to make it red. So there we go. And the arrow that I just made has a red outline to it. I can make it red itself or just have the red outline. So that's kind of cool. And this is also something you can select and move around. You can make it bigger or smaller, and that's all. So that you have a really snazzy, fancy looking Prezi. Now, we've got it made. We need our students to see it. Maybe they won't be able to watch it in school, though. Maybe they need to have it at home for additional enrichment. Or maybe you have a student that's sick and you know you'll be giving giving notes on a certain date. Well, you have something up here called Meeting. You can start an online presentation, or you can invite other people to edit it with you. The editing feature is something that you can have the students do. They can create a Prezi together for a project, and they can edit, and they can see each other, little characters in there floating around. they can see the changes that each other are making as they happen. But if we're going to show something to people that aren't in class, or maybe we want to do something with our colleagues or whatever, we do online presentation, and it gives us this link. I'm going to copy it, and I don't use this because Internet Explorer sucks. And then a really good tool is Bitly. When you go to Bitly, you can create a new account, or you can just shorten right away. I'm going to shorten. I paste the link there by Control V. There we go. Now, it just made that. So I have these, this short little link here. When I click the information, that is the link. I can also customize it, and I can make it whatever I want it to say. And now, all I have to do is, whoever I want to see this presentation online, I just have to have them type in j.mp/coolprezitest, and they will immediately see this view. And as I click the arrows, it will advance for them. Problem is, Internet Explorer sucks, and so it's herky-jerky as it moves through. That's why it's very important to download your presentations. You can't share them online that way, but you can still share the file. Put it in the file share drive and let your students view it that way. But maybe you don't need to do that. Maybe you don't need to have them download the Prezi. Maybe they don't need to do an online presentation with Bitly or whatever. Maybe you want to put it on your outreach page. If that's the case, we'll exit from Prezi, or from this presentation, that is. And we have these options of edit the Prezi, edit together, which is what your students can use. You can download it, as I've already showed, save a copy, delete. But we also have share over here. And when you hit share, this is where you can either give the link to someone, one of your colleagues, and they can use your notes. You can click this little email, and it will email it to them. This is what you can have your students do, where you tell them your email. They make a Prezi. They put your email in there, and then you get a link to whatever Prezi they created. But you can also embed, and when you embed, it gives you all this HTML code. So I'm going to select all, which is also Control A, and Control C, or copy. And then when we edit, wherever you want it to appear, just for an example here, I'll put it right there. You need to know where it is that it's going to go. So we see summer assignment. I'm going to put it after this section on summer assignment, but I can't just paste it in there. If I just paste it, it looks like that, the HTML code. I don't like that. That doesn't do any good. So what I'm going to do then is go to HTML, edit HTML source. So then it loads this. This looks like a foreign language, and I don't blame you if it looks very overwhelming. But all we really need to do is find like the anchor. So I know I'm putting it after summer assignment. So all I have to do is really skim and scan, and there's summer assignment real big, obvious. Well, where this little block ends, it says P align, and then it has this /P. That means the P is end. That's the paragraph. So I'm going to just push enter a couple of times, paste the HTML there, hit update, save and set active. Yes, I want to view all content. Now the Prezi is on my page. Students can come in here, they can click through, it'll load it up, and they can watch the Prezi right here online. So that's really neat. You can put notes on there, you can put your class expectations, you can put whatever, update it daily, update it weekly, use it all, have it set for all year, whatever it is you want to do. So that's a really cool way you can embed the Prezi on your outreach page, and I'm going to delete it now. Now it's going to be important that I have this Prezi ready to go so that I can present it in class, so I have to make sure that I download, export to portable Prezi, download that, click the download link when it appears, and then once I get the zipped file, I have to take that folder out of the zipped file, save it wherever it is I'm saving my Prezis, and begin by clicking on the prezi.exe inside that folder as I showed in the previous video. After that, you're all good to go.